Okay, now that's much better. I'm actually puzzled. I haven't been watching my own streams, to be honest, for such a long time because I just work. So yeah, I'm really sorry about that. I didn't even know that the quality was that bad. Probably has been for quite some time, and I didn't notice that. Yeah, so I'm really sorry about that. And then the stream looks stable though in the I mean looking at the my own stream on my third window right now, and it's such a difference. Now currently it's getting worse once it starts to repeat itself. But it's okay now. It's usable. I'm really sorry about that. I didn't know. Yeah, but with the GPU that I have, I shouldn't have a problem. My main bottleneck is my internet provider. So thank you very much for telling me that my quality can be improved. Yeah, sometimes you don't notice. Maybe it was something like it did reset itself at some point and just didn't notice. Because I'm pretty sure that when I started to streaming, I had everything set up to highest quality mode. Yeah, thank you.
Wow, I thought it would run your stream auto. I just left the page open and came back now and had to refresh the page.
Oh, is the quality okay right now? I can check again if it dropped. So last time I checked it was okay again, but...
Yes, I can read.
Oh, you can read. That's nice. I can read since I'm... never mind. Since I increased the quality again. Yeah. Thank you for the hint. Yeah. I probably have been streaming in low quality for quite some time.
It's good now. I can read now.
Yeah. So I think I can fine tune a little bit more, because I think at the when you look at the fonts, they look a little bit like they can be improved, but it's a little bit about finding out how much my internet provider can provide me with bandwidth. And I have my maximum bandwidth, but it's I think 20 megabytes upwards, which is not that much when you are streaming in 1440p. So I probably run into a bottleneck there. Yeah, but thank you so much, because I've been streaming for really long, and I think I've been streaming in low quality for really long, and nobody told me. Or it was really good that you straightforward said, "Yeah, your quality, something's up, guy." That helped. Thank you.
Are you trying to create a Unity Store package?
Oh, you got that right.
No worries.
Yeah, you got that right. It's an asset tool. You wanna know about it?
Sure.
Sure. Okay. So you're a little bit lucky, because you're not in the most boring part of the process. Currently, I have this list, and these are basically my tasks. I don't have a Jira or something like right now, because I work alone. But yeah, I just have my task list, and I'm currently testing out the last edges of this Unity Assets Store asset, and it's called Brush Forger. The prototype, let me start with the prototype, why I do this, is a parallax brush that was developed for my own game, and the idea is to draw in prefabs, and there are brushes that do that, so that's nothing special. But the idea is to draw in 2D and then create a parallax effect. And there is a lot of challenges with that, because first of all, you need all the base functions for the brush, that it can randomize a little bit, so everything looks natural. So that's quite easy. But then you come to the parallax effect, and you need different kind of layers, and they need an offset, and they need to shift with the cam, and the cam goes it goes like this, yeah, so that you have this parallax effect when you move the cam. So this is the base project, and you can see when I do this with a shortcut, I don't do this with the mouse, so everything moved right now. Yeah, the trick is everything is moved, so if the cam is exactly at the same point as my mouse, the scene would look like exactly this. When you start the level, the scene looks exactly like this. So this is a helper, so I can preview how the scene is going to look over here, and how it is going to look over here, because the parallax effect, you draw it in, yeah, and if I would not have this function, I would have to estimate how the scene, how much have I to put this stone to the right, so that it is over here when the player is over there. So that gets tricky in the head. You can do this, and artists can do this, and they do such things all the time, but it gets impossible once you see do that over here. Yeah, these stones over here, they move the half the level. It's nearly impossible to do it. So it's really nice to have the necessary to have a helper function so that you can draw in, and while drawing you can attach this to the mouse when you're drawing so that you can.
This is def something very interesting, and I'm not easy to impress.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. So I think it's not that impressive, but it works very well. Yeah. As I said, this is the prototype that I started with. Yeah. And there's a lot of more things, like you have a lot of brushes here because you don't want to. There's a lot of boring stuff going on. Like I have a set of brush for stones,
it's always
for
a good
vegetation.
idea to pull things from projects that you can sell on the store.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that it has to be, but I looked it up and I was like, okay, nobody does that. So yeah, then you have then I have a reason, because I want to bring a value to the asset store. Yeah, because there's if you do the same thing over and over again, maybe you can fetch something and live from that. I doubt it, but this really gives some value to the asset stores, because I can imagine. I looked up.
I wouldn't be surfing
games.
the store for something like this, but if you release this game, it can sell your package.
Maybe. I think I looked up 2D games. Most of the 2D games just take different sprites, big drawings from the 2D artists for the background. Like I can't do this because that would take too much time for me. And I think people have searched for something like this already and just found out that it's better to just draw a picture. If you have an artist, you can do that, but it's not very flexible to have all of this in one picture and then re-sign it. That takes more time. You can really only do this with manpower, and that's not good. Yeah. So I wanted to make this into an asset and created another asset that is just because I need an own palette over here. This is all custom. This is all custom coded in Unity. So the idea was, before I make a brush, I need the whole base now for a brush, and I just wanted it to be a palette that I can then base the brush on. But then I was like, hey, I need to clean code. It needs object inheritance. I want to not make assumptions of what kind of brush it is. So this is a system where you can swap out a lot and customize a lot. So the idea is that I say the brush is generic. How the brush interacts with the world, that's generic. How the tools, that's also generic. So the tools are assigned to the brush. So the brush tells what kind of tools it has, because a terrain brush that makes things higher or lower needs other tools than a prefab brush. Yeah, it wouldn't make sense for a terrain brush to have a flap X and flap Y tool. So I was like, okay, I have to make this generic. I don't know if I ever make a terrain brush, but I want the code at least at the start to be as flexible as it can be. And there's a lot of things inside of the code quality, because it's a lot of classes. So I tried to really divide into things that make sense. So that in the end, when you extend the brush, for example, here's a sprite brush that inherits from the prefab brush. With that, you can change the color of the of a sprite, for example. Now this is a sample example, yeah, what you could do. Actually, I have to assign an asset here, so you can see this changes the color, yeah, and the code for it is super simple. They go inside of here. This is the whole code for the sprite renderer. Just goes in, and says take the base create brush function and then do some changes to the sprite renderer, and that's it. Yeah. And then I make the custom inspector. You don't have to do this when you do it yourself, but I had the idea to make this accessible for everyone. So when you make your own project, or I myself make my own project, I can easily go in here, just add what I want to do in very easy code, in lightweight code, and have the system do all the heavy stuff. Yeah. So I'm trying to get everything that is complicated about making a brush away. Yeah, because I think I started with the Unity 2D tilemap brush, and I thought that thing was too complicated.
How long you been working with .NET?
Since Unity, 2018. But I don't really work with .NET. It's because of Unity I work with .NET, but it's pretty much in the Unity space. Yeah. So I've been trying to extend my expertise on other engines like Unreal Engine, but yeah, I'm stuck in projects, so I yeah.
I can see you are excited about giving users a good UX with your package.
Thank you. Yeah, that's basically what I'm caring most about. Like, I already have some assets in the Unity asset store. Can probably show it. Also have to add that as a link. Yeah, all my packages right now, and for this one, for example, is okay, I have to open it over here. This one is also
but I would
really
not
nice.
Stress about too much over the unknown. The API for user UX can upgrade over time via user requests.
Yeah, so currently this is using the Unity UI toolkit, and I'm really lucky that I did even get the hint that I have to use that, because this is completely fresh. They changed from their old UI system to a new one, like just recently. Yeah, I think they started in 2022 to make that change.
I know all the toolkit API.
Yeah. Yeah, and
binding custom elements ECT.
Yeah, that's exactly the thing there where I'm also okay. This one is a little bit simple. Okay, yeah, here bind property. I also always try to bind properties. What I think is a huge oversight is I always try to find the name of the variable that I'm binding, and then I go inside of Unity. And see their code example. Oh, okay, I can't find it right now.
You can do runtime binding. Using custom data classes, it's really overpowered.
Oh, but I don't do runtime. I do editor time. So, this is where I draw the line, where I say, okay, you could also imagine...
The editor binding vs runtime is different.
I'm not sure, I don't know. I assume. If you see, I just know that that runtime can be very different, but I don't know. Okay. Yeah. But since this is a editor only window, I absolutely don't care about runtime at the moment. Like, I had the idea, like, yeah, you could also make this brush runtime, but this is where I draw the line to, okay, that's feature creep, that's too much for me right now, because I want this to be the base and then extend it with a parallax brush. And making that then into a one-time brush
I mean,
makes
if you're using it for a real project, not this. Like binding UI.
Okay, can you specify that?
Heal bar.
The health bar. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It can be really cool. Like the binding over here? I don't know, I would have to try it out.
Aha, sorry. Finish explaining your tool.
Oh. What I found out here is, first of all, I made it to work with a 2D plane. So if you go in 2D mode, so you can see where the prototype is coming from, the ultimate goal of this. I can draw in, and currently I have some lag. Something. Okay, this because I'm testing something. I'm currently making changes to the target system, and I haven't finished the code, but it you can then say, okay, but what if I change the plane over here? So this allows you to customize how the brush interacts with the world. Yeah, now you can also give it an offset, but you could also go and say, okay, I want to take another axis. Yeah, and the thing is, you can completely customize this and write your own algorithm, because I know what developers do, that once you put it in there, then you have maybe some custom component that you want to add to every object, but you want to maybe add them from the brush or do something special. You want to have some weird, unique mapping algorithm where you cast away on a mesh, but you only want to draw if it's one of your units that you want to draw on. Yeah, so this is why I make this option to change how the brush interacts with the world. This, for example, this will draw in front of the camera. Yeah, so this is if you want more of a free cam feature. Yeah, just draw wherever you want in whatever axis. You can also do that. You have also some options for the rotation. Yeah, but the idea is to make it really customizable and make it really fast. Yeah, so that in the end the productivity is the ultimate goal. That once I'm finished with the base, which is absolute pain, it's absolute pain. Once I hope that I can go into lightweight code and just say, okay, now I don't have to worry about saving up on what kind of target I'm working on or how I mapped it on the world. I can just make my small little changes, because most of the time you don't want to make crazy stuff. You just want a tool that works. It's easy customizable. Yeah, so that is the whole thing. And this is supposed to be the base set. That's going to be in the Unity Asset Store for free then, and the extension. The first extension that I would do is the Parallax brush. That will be then for, I guess, 20 euros plus. Yeah. By the way, the price has to be above 20 euros so you can participate in sales. That if it wasn't for that, I would go a little bit more down. But it's how Unity keeps the prices high. By the way.
Sounds like a solid plan. If you release your game, you can do used in games like your game.
I actually don't think it's that important. I mean, sure, but
Money.
yeah. I mean, it can work, but and there's different tricks like that, where you just you can also
Make
write.
it rain, John.
You can also write that developer and take a known developer says this is good, and that's enough. It's the credit that is important, or that it was reviewed by
Das good.
Unity. Yeah. There's some marketing tricks. It does not have to be in a game actually, but you have to the trick is to have somebody else evaluate and then say, hey, this guy evaluated that this is good. Yeah. And the trick is that when you're marketing, the guys, we are thinking, okay, here's the trick. They are saying that about themselves, but how do we know? Yeah, of course, everybody thinks they are great. And then they said, but this guy says this is great. And they say, oh, yeah, that's credibility. Yeah. Also works for games and everything else. Using games like I see that as a developer, and if I don't know the games, I'm like, yeah, probably these are trash games, I don't know. Just like my own game currently, that's the game is not in a state where I wanted to release it, and so I call it kind of a trash game. And I have a rework in the pipe, but you see where I'm at now. What are you doing? Yeah, you are not a normal guy who has never seen coding before, or game development. I seem to know a lot.
I'm just making a JSON serializer, but then I may find a way to source gen the boilerplate.
I don't understand. So you're making a JSON serializer? Why? There's enough JSON serializer and deserializer. I don't get it. Teach me, senpai. What do I miss here?
I'm not making one, but making my save load system. I'm using Newtonsoft's JSON wrapper.
So you're not making one game, but you make a save load system, and you're serializing and deserializing in JSON. That's what I would assume from that. And just I can just interpret a lot of stuff. I can assume that what you do is probably not a small project of the same save system. So I have a question for you, a really good one. It's kind of interesting. I have this
Yeah,
function.
need a way to save and load data per components.
I have a simple function here with the target. I don't know if you can read it well, but I'm trying to get the target by their global target ID. And this seems to be the best way if I want to load in game objects, because that's also why it's so slow right now. Because every time it asks for the targets, it's going to ask the global object ID, and it seems to be really slow to get that ID. How do you get and save the IDs or things in the scene? Because I'm using that ID because I need some kind of identifier that is persistent between sessions or scene switches. Yeah, when you change the scene, the target ID of game objects changes, and I have the problem really that I need to save that.
Those methods are Unity Editor API?
This one, yes. You might it might be useful if you don't know that one. This one, I actually just found it by really researching today a lot, because I was like, okay, saving a game object, super easy. Just get the game object and get the ID, and then I was like,
Never seen / used them.
okay. Get instance ID. Returns an ID that is different each session. You open and close the editor, and get instance ID will return you a different ID every time, because it generates the ID once you load in the scene. And I think, like, why? Just give us a method that is easy to work with. So how do you solve that? Are you just saving components and just didn't run into that so far, or what do you do? I mean, you're working on the save system, and I was today really asking myself, how do people who work on the save system solve that?
Let me read the method again.
This one. This is a global ID. And this one is persistent over multiple sessions. So you first go and call this global ID, try parse. You have to first get the ID of that object, then you try to pass that into the global ID, cast that into
I screenshot it. I may need to view it in my IDE to see what these methods are doing.
Yeah, I think I'm currently working on them, so then there will be a change, because currently this is not effective. Yeah, so okay, I think this line of code is redundant. I think I can. Because can just plug this in here. Oh yeah, I get this as a string, Yeah, no, I know. Again, what the problem was, you cannot save the global object ID in an instance. I'm saving this right now in an instance, so you probably can get around that because if you can work with JSON, maybe you don't have that problem. But I save it in over here. You can't see anything, but here, no, you can't see it. Yeah, okay, it's hidden. See, I save it in an asset, and in an asset only primitive types are persistent, like string, integer, float, long. So I have to pass that. If I wouldn't have to, if that, but that's possible. That works. Yeah, that's actually not the problem. It's a little bit annoying, but I wouldn't go and write a saving system for that right now.
I'm just wondering why you are using the editor's API to get scene objects. Why can't you just statically grab it?
Oh, I do statically grab them. So the thing is here. I want to save the target, and this is the target on which you are painting on. Currently, let me try to show you what this does. Well, first, why it is there. I delete all these objects. After it's finished loading, maybe I can show you. And that all objects that I draw are drawn upon this target. Currently, it's taking way too long. By the way, I think it's calling the target. Yeah, it's calling the target every time. That's bad.
I would need more context to really get a better grasp.
Yeah. So I'm saving just this target to when you close the editor and then go in again. I want the user to just continue to paint on the target that he's been painting on. And when you switch the scene, you switch from scene A to scene B and back. And then you want to continue to work on what you have been working on. If you forget the target and have to assign the target again each time and it's null, it's kind of annoying. Yeah, it's okay. You work with that, but it's not good. It can be better. I think it's bad service for the user experience if you have to mess with things that reset themselves every time. So I need to save the target. Yeah. So the target goes in here.
There is some event methods that let you know when scenes are switch, I think.
Yeah. But when the scene switches, I have to identify the saved target again. So this goes
I would wait for that event, then save before.
And it saves all the time. So when you get the target, or not over the time, when you set the target, it saves it up in the dictionary. So it saves it up in a dictionary with the key. This is the key. The global object ID as a string is the key. And what I get out is, I don't know, something. Oh, the scene. The scene is the key, and I get out the ID because the scene is important to identify the object. Here you see what is the target in this scene, and then I get this ID, and with the ID I identify the object, and that happens. That works.
String current scene name equals scene manager dot get active scene dot name.
The scene switch method is over here. On scene change, you can go and say editor scene manager, because this is supposed to be editor mode, not runtime. And you just have something that you can listen to. and then I tell him, hey, do something. Say the target changed. Yeah, and that will then make things request what is the current target and update their target, which is specifically this field. This field then updates itself to the target. Then we goes into this getter, and the getter will tell it, okay, will then go through its parsing.
Can't you do your saving when this is fired? If it's lagging because you're running the method a lot.
It's currently I know why it's lagging. It's lagging because of this line of code. This line of code here. I think once I save the game object, I can try to actually save the game object and then give that back instead of loading that in. I still need to differentiate then when do I have to fetch the ID and when not. Yeah, so that's something. But yeah, I will pretty much do something for this if clause here, so that I don't have to use the global ID methods, and they just return a string. But for some reason, this method absolutely lags.
Yeah, I'm not Superman. But I would need more context of the entire system to give you a real answer.
Well, you don't need me to give me an answer, but I thought you had maybe some other method to identify objects. Like, how do you identify a game object when you're working on a saving system? Okay,
Public virtual int get hash code, throw null, public system dot type get type, throw null.
okay. So does it return something that you can work with? A hash? Is that hash okay? Because I don't know what kind of thing it would do to an object. Because I thought if you just give in an object that it's not, I don't know, they would say okay that's an object.
Hi.
Hello, zero weed. Let me guess, you smoke with zero weed. Yeah, that's a little bit inappropriate. Sorry for that greeting. Hi. What's up, man?
Ich spreche Deutsch.
Ich spreche auch Deutsch. Hi. Oh, and thank you for the follow. Where are you from? Are you from Germany? From a neighboring country. Like currently we have
Nini ist eigentlich 0 weighted. Wait, do the instance ID thing again. Make it change. I need to double check.
So okay, wait, because I'm coding right now. Okay, let me compile. So the instance ID, I go in here, click on this parallax tile. Let's click on the cam because it's in the root. 141, yeah. 174. 207. The instance ID is different each time. It also goes when I close the whole project that the instance ID will not be the
Lock
same.
file ID never changes.
Yep. The log file ID doesn't change. And
Local file ID never changes.
but then there's the thing. Then I thought like, yeah, let's just get the local file ID, and then I was ID. Oh, we don't have anything to get the ID. You can get them, but only the local file ID. You can get them only if it's an asset stored in the folder, or you would have to manually.
Check for hashes.
You would manually have to save it up to get the local identifier. So you can't just get that from anything in the scene. Local hashes. That's a good idea. So get hash code, and we could try to get what that does. Yeah, let's just look what the hash code is doing. We just assign an object here. I'm returning before I do something. Sorry. Let me put that into the setter. So let's check that out. If we probably can get the hash code. Okay, it takes forever. So the bad thing is the hash code looks too small. So currently it's lagging because it's also looping. So I have to take this out. As I said, it's that I'm restructuring it right now, so it's the only thing that I've had some bad luck right now, because normally I'm pretty happy that it doesn't lag anything, but currently target change is going to create a reference where it's going to reference to the target again. That's why it loops a lot. Okay, that takes forever. I'm sorry about that. Now this is of course of my inability to foresee that if I say the target changes when we set the target, and then everything is requested what the new target is, and then it loops around. I think it's because then it goes in here and returns the target, and this is going to loop it. I'm not sure. So let's go in and see again. I think they changed. Let's change the scene and back. Yeah, it changes. The hash changes.
You can use reflection to get the local ID.
Reflection is not.
If you can find its variable.
Reflection. No. Reflection is not one efficient. Yeah, the reflection is not efficient. Then I can just get because I already have a method from Unity where I know that a lot of the quirks have been solved. I would stick with this method then instead of reflection, and just say, okay, if you already have found your target, then I would get a pointer to a value where I save the game object instead of using that method. So I can still work around that. Yeah, so that's not the problem. The main issue is just is this approach the right way? Is this the best identifier? And
why do you need the instances?
You have to, because I want to remember what kind of target I did set here. Yeah. So I just need something to identify the object.
I normally just do a find objects by type.
I don't know anything. I cannot make any assumption. So if I would do that, I don't know if the user just takes one object, copies it in 20 times, give them all the same name, edits them in some way that I can't predict, takes out things. Can't do that. Yeah. I would have too many cases that I can't catch. The user is going to change everything. I can't make any assumption about what the user is doing with the object. And the object in here, yeah, this is of the type object. So
doesn't the meta file hold the settings info?
Only if you save. It gets worse. Yeah, you can read out the meta file if you want that. So I was also thinking about that, but I'm not ready to get go that step. I would rather right now I think I will just try to get this function more cost effective. So I don't call this method so often, only at first time. When I load this scene, yeah, only when I load this scene I should ever call this. And then it shouldn't be a problem, because then it's one call only. Yeah, because that's currently the problem. Yeah.
Yet I still not sure the actual problem trying to be solved. Which makes it hard for me to.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's just you can drag in anything here and draw on it. You need that because this is a prefab brush. A prefab brush will draw in a lot of objects, so you can't just spam them into the root of the scene. You have to you have to parent them.
You want the reference back when you switch.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So it's saved. I know that the scene file has to save it somehow. Yeah. And I could read out the meta file of the scene to get the object, but there have to be better methods from Unity. That's engine stuff. That's where you have to try to find methods provided by Unity to help you out. Because if they
Just
change
store
that,
it statically.
you can't store a game object statically. That only works with primitive types. It will be lost once you close the editor. It only works with string, integer, long, primitive types. Not with the game object.
If it's a prefab, yes.
Things in here but are not prefabs. If somebody decides he just has a parent here for my awesome background 1, 2, 3, 4, he doesn't have to make them into prefab.
Why wouldn't they be a prefab?
Why would they? Yeah. If you're an artist and you just have something, okay, this is in this level, my parent for the background, yeah, and then you give it more parents. You don't prefab then. You could say, okay, you have to use prefabs.
There is a way to hold ref. There has to be.
So you can't force the user to use anything, yeah. That's the thing. So I'm pretty much stuck with what Unity gives me. You can also try it with object. Object will also be lost when you say close the editor. I mean, maybe if you serialize it with JSON and deserialize it and write it into a file, maybe that would work too.
There has to be a way to store it. Just gotta be a way.
Yeah, I also think maybe you would store the whole game
that
object.
Would overkill.
Yeah, it would overkill. Also, you probably would store a lot of data that is unnecessary. I also wouldn't know if it is cost effective. Yeah, like big O is not good. Okay, that's something that primitive whatever. Okay, I wanted to look what kind of data types are saved. It's really a pain with saving up things, to be honest. Like what I'm doing is I'm saving it up in scriptable objects inside of the Unity project. Yeah. So this is my saving system. And it has its reason why I came from that, because you can define your own brushes. And then I was like, hey, now I have a system to save things. Now I'm just using that for everything now. Yeah. And unfortunately, I don't find the documentation right now where it says you can only store this and that data type. I have to get going now.
Okay, man. Maybe next time I catch you, I'll find something on the topic.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you for following. Okay, we are finishing for today. So we went through a whole set of tests. First of all, we created an asset and moved that into a...
All right.
Thank you. First of all, I created an asset and moved that into an empty project over here. And I was pretty amazed that that just worked quite nicely. I expected an error to pop up the first time you import the asset. So that test was a success. Then the fresh import state was successful. When we had the brush forger palette not opened, I found out that if you then press hotkeys, I had to make one more if clause that would check if the palette is open or not. Also was a success into the fix, after the fix, yeah. And then make a unique identifier for game objects. So right now, when opening and closing, I go here into the test scene and see the parent here. Can put in parent 2. I go out, I could go in, and the parent is still there. I close, I open, and it will still remember the correct game object. So with the code solution that I have right now, I'm quite happy. Just have to make sure that normally you don't look up in the dictionary. I don't only do that. Normally it would just say, hey, it's that target that you assign here. Let's just save that up and give that back, because that's much faster. So normally it doesn't do all of this code. Just have to get rid of the debug log. So only if it can't find if the target is null, which I manually do on scene switch, or when it's starting, then the target is null. Then it goes into the dictionary, looks into the scene, and then gets the ID where it identifies the game object with. So this is the way that I'm currently going, and this seems it works, yeah. So the only thing that doesn't work well, if you would have something that needs to be faster at one time, or you need to do this per frame, then you're going to have a problem. Like currently, you can see that the brush draws at its normal speed again. It's very smooth. It's recompiling, but now it's really smooth again. Yeah, like it should be. Yeah, before it was really laggy. Yeah, it's not the normal state. So I'm quite happy that that works, because that is actually a pretty heavy call, since it's creating a lot of game objects here. That's a heavy function. It also means everything else has to be optimized for speed. Okay, next time I will test with child game objects in here. I actually shouldn't do anything, but it's just a test. So I expect that to be successful. Test if game object without sprite renderers throw errors when I have the sprite renderer brush. I actually didn't test that, it's correct. The undo function, I have tested that, but I can test that again. Make a demo scene and make custom icons for the tools. That's going to be, it's also left for next time. Provide a 3D object example with primitive shapes. That will be quite easy. Test scene swap. Yeah, we are doing that right now. That's working. We still have one big test, and that has a big question mark. That is the one-time test. Now, with a build. Well, sometimes when building, the errors come up in the log file where you're completely puzzled why they are there, but we have to check that out. Yeah, so yeah, thank you for tuning in and for the active chat today. Has been really a pleasure, and see you next time when I hopefully will finish the asset, but every day right now I go in here and say, hey, today is going to be the day, today is going to be the day, tomorrow is going to be the day, you know. But maybe it's going to be the day. Maybe it's going to be the day after tomorrow, but I'm really close to finishing the asset. So I'm also happy that I can have the time and patience to do all these tests, because that's something that I really hate, when you test something out and you have the feeling like, whoever gave that to you didn't test that out, or if somebody used that would have been a known issue. So that's why I do a whole set of tests before I go on here. And yeah, on one side I'm very happy about this set right now. On the other side, it's very much time, a lot of time. Yeah. So see you. Goodbye.